ever wondered how is that SHAARJ was defeated, yet only his heart remained, like that is all there was from him and everything else was just completely gone? Well, with the most recent hints, maybe that is not actually the case. Right now, we have a ton of new info, from brand new whispers to Iridikron escaping and once again collaborating with an ancient evil. Seeing that the first Galakrond was created by Galakrond, could the second one be made by none other than SHAARJ, the strongest old god that ever lived on Azeroth? The old gods saw this coming when they said that we will follow him into deep places where the dark waters will flow. Amiibo is doing a bunch of giveaways all throughout the month of December, and you can win a $10 store balance by just clicking the link below and adding hashtag Amiibo to your comment. I'll be picking a winner every few days. Furthermore, there are a ton of amazing deals going on right now on the Amiibo store, and you can use my code Doron to get even better deals. So check out my link in the description below. So the credit for this theory mainly comes from Reddit, but really it's been all over the place, and there are actually a lot of hints. Like, this isn't just fanfiction and just crazy tinfoil hat theories. It does seem like Blizzard is seriously just setting up something super crazy. We have potentially some of the most interesting hints in quite a while in the whole of World of Warcraft. Did you ever actually wonder how is it SHAARJ was defeated yet only his heart remained? Like, how does that even work outside of his entire crazy gigantic body? Literally everything was gone and only just a single heart was found. Well, that is because that may not be the case. We don't really know what the old gods truly are, but if we go by the Chronicle and the Titan information, they are the creations of the Void Lords that are meant to find world souls to corrupt them with void energies, and that is exactly what the Black Empire had done on Azeroth, and it was almost successful until the Titans came in to do their thing. Now, we know about 4 old gods, although potentially there could also be a 5th hidden one, maybe even on the Dragon Isles, that has been hinted at quite recently. However, what is important to note is that SHAARJ was like crazy powerful. Like, he was the old god, the most powerful one. In fact, the way Black Empire worked as a structure is that their civilization was built around the bulk of the old gods, and the largest part of the entire empire was around SHAARJ. Now, when the Titans came in and attempted to get rid of these guys, they created their Titan Forge army and got them to work. The first and the biggest hurdle they came across is when they decided to face off against SHAARJ, because the Titan Forge were quite literally no match for this monstrosity. Every single force that was sent against them was turned insane and defeated, so the Titans were like, looks like I gotta calm down myself, and they did, because Aman'Thul literally got himself to Azeroth in his full and powerful form, and he just ripped out SHAARJ by force. Then they realized this was a massive mistake, as they had dug themselves so deep that they killed almost the entire planet. So after that, the Titans really refrained from any of these brute force actions. Now, as we know, SHAARJ's heart remained and his influence created the Sha in Pandaria and all that. However, think about it, like, how likely is that other parts remain that we know nothing about somewhere deep below? From Iridikron, we learned that there are places beneath Earth that no one can really access unless they know what they're doing. And from the recent news, a lot of things are hinting that Azeroth as a world soul is in fact elemental. It isn't even a Titan, and the Titans just pumped Arcane into it to turn it into one. Prior to that, the old gods pumped the Void to turn it into a Void Titan. Seeing that SHAARJ got so deep that the Well of Eternity was created in the wound, it is highly likely that a lot of his influence remained deep underground, and it just kinda festered over the years. The reason this is relevant is because we just inadvertently released the Primal Incarnates and Iridikron, and now he escaped, and Alexstrasza said that he's so knowledgeable about Earth that he will know exactly where to hide, and he might even use the same powers that he used all those years ago when that terrible dragon war was unleashed. This, of course, brings us to that famous, most relatable whisper. From Earth, he draws strength. Our Earth, our strength. This more than likely refers to Iridikron, but it obviously also refers to Altarian, as we had seen him using these forbidden powers. Now, both of them are aspects of Earth, and they had abilities that no one else had, so how likely do you think is that they stumbled upon the remnants of SHAARJ deep underground that no one knew nothing about? Now, we know, for example, it was confirmed that Galakrond was created by Galakrond and his corruption of the waters, which may be related to decay magic. Furthermore, it was confirmed that Galakrond is indeed alive in Northrend, and really all the old gods kind of work together, as you might have seen from that Black Empire time travel, as they just kind of whisper at the same time non-stop. They're kind of coordinated in a way. However, why we think this thing Iridikron was using could be SHAARJ and not anything else is because of a few super interesting hints. So for years, SHAARJ has been called the seven-eyed goat, and it makes sense. He literally has 7 eyes and horns, so he kind of looks like a goat. His Hearthstone animation literally has 7 eyes. The item Galakrond's Box of Secrets mentions a 7th-eyed goat, and we had a questline in BFA that said this: she shows you a goat with too many eyes lying in a black puddle. So it's really not hard to connect that SHAARJ may in fact be this 7-eyed goat, and that there is some dark water that relates to him. Now you may be wondering, like, why is this actually relevant to anything? These are just some random items. Well, we literally have brand new hints from Dragonflight that essentially just double down on this. First, and the most important point is, I'm almost certain that old gods are going to be a big thing, because Blizzard literally decided to include a time travel to the Black Empire as a part of the main questline that everyone goes through that involves elementals, and elementals are a theme of this expansion, so they're definitely setting something up. That time travel scenario with the Black Empire really seemed a lot more serious than, for example, that goofy Murloc thing that was mainly there for the memes, but that is besides the point. In the scenario itself, we get a whisper from Azeroth. In fact, we get 2 whispers. You will follow him to the deep places. The dark waters will flow in his wake. With many eyes, they will see again. They will drink and be uplifted. So, I don't know about you, but these are definitely some super crazy hints. First, many eyes, Ailey can refer to all the old gods, as they all have a bunch of them. However, SHAARJ is in particular notable for having more than usual, like the 7 eyes is his defining features. Now, the first hint is even more important, as this almost certainly relates to Iridikron. You will follow him to the deep places, meaning we are searching for the primal incarnates before they strike first, and dark waters will flow in his wake. I think Iridikron may realize just how powerful we are. He already dabbled with this magic in the past, and now he's like, I know something that you guys don't, and I'm the only person that can find it, apart from maybe Deathwing, who is no longer here. So really think about it. How likely is that he could find maybe the blood of SHAARJ or some crazy remaining artifact related to SHAARJ, and he could use it to turn himself into Galakrond 2.0, or he could in fact resurrect the Galakrond himself. Alexstrasza in the cinematic already mentioned Iridikron's hunger, so he without a doubt did something similar to decay magic and Galakrond. However, the first Galakrond was created by a relatively powerful old god Galakrond through the waters, and subsequently the Titan Keepers really brought that down to a halt, like they really doubled down on that. However, as a primal incarnate of Earth, what if Iridikron realized he could replicate this, but with a much more powerful old god, the most powerful one ever, SHAARJ? Like, they were defeated in the civil war they were losing, and he needed something super strong. This means that if we get a new Galakrond from SHAARJ, he is going to be really powerful, like a lot more powerful than Galakrond ever was, and keep in mind, Galakrond was quite a serious threat. Furthermore, we have the other whispers of the 5 torches that we're literally speculating about every single expansion, and we thought it was everything from the artifacts to those sigils of the jailer. However, this time it really seems like they're setting up some crazy old god stuff, so now the 5 oath stones might just be what they have been talking about. Of course, these are theories and hints, but in my opinion, these are really strong ones. Even the user himself talked about how the old gods like N'Zoth were never really defeated, how they have plans within plans, how when one door closes, another opens. So really, this might be some really good news, as this might be the chance for Blizzard to redeem themselves for that disaster that was the N'Zoth fight. N'Zoth was the weakest of the old gods, and if that defeat really was a plan of his, and we now awaken or use the magic of the most powerful old god ever, that could lead into some crazy story development. Either we could literally face off the incarnation of SHAARJ himself, or we could be getting a SHAARJ enhanced Galakrond that would be a monstrosity unlike anything we had ever seen before. Thank you for watching. Check out what is outlined like 15 years later by clicking on the screen, and check out the Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.